Hello everybody, my name is Jackie Bradham and I'm here today with Western Wisconsin Journal, and we're talking about the St. Croix RiverFest, which is coming up real soon here, July 18th through the 22nd in Hudson, Wisconsin. We're going to party with a purpose. We're going to celebrate the St. Croix River. Buck, you want to give us a little bit of background on the...
Sure, and actually doesn't, there's a journaling activity.
Oh yeah, we have some pre-events.
We have a pre-event, so if you remember to come to it, I'll do a little history first, if that works. It was in 2013 that Paul Bourget suggested to a couple of us that we ought to amplify what had previously been a pretty simple riverbank litter cleanup activity that had been going on since about 2000. And so Paul assembled some people with different talents, and we started it in 2013. And the number of partners and the number of activities has slowly grown. We've got a couple of 2-3 potential new activities we'll talk about as we get a little deeper into the chronology of the 2023 RiverFest, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got, well, let's take it up in the chronology. Do you want to say something about, oh, and before we forget, Jackie, we wanted to show our t-shirts, didn't we?
Okay.
They're not exactly the same. So audience, if you'll bear with us, we'll show you the fronts and the backs of our t-shirts. We both have that Scrappy Crew thing, but we have slightly different fronts. And,
so,
and I'm wearing my Suranda Party with a Purpose cap too for this
So
for
Buck,
this
who is
recording.
Scrappy? What is Scrappy?
Yeah, well, the core activity is picking up litter and trash from the riverbanks of the St. Croix River, from public spaces that we can get on without trespassing on anybody's private property, and then taking the most artistic and durable parts of what's been picked up and decorating this sculpture called Scrappy. Gosh, I don't remember the exact year, but it was probably only the second or third year of RiverFest that Mary Johnson, yes, an artist from the Twin Cities who works with welding and steels, built the armature, as she calls it, for Scrappy. And Scrappy is made up, it's a basic framework to which there is attached some mesh wire, and then the litter can be zip tied onto that mesh. So every year we take off last year's litter and put on the new litter. That's picked up on Tuesday of RiverFest. That'll be the 18th of July this year.
Yeah, it's always intriguing, and I'm interested in some of the things that people find when we're out there cleaning up trash on the river. There's some really interesting things, and a lot of bait boxes and tin cans and bottles, but there's also lots of shoes and flip-flops. And
we've had some really notable things there. The folks in the Kinnickinnick River Land Trust borrowed Scrappy several years in a row, and they'd do a cleanup on the banks of the Kinnickinnick River. And one year they came up with a bridal gown that was on its hanger and in its plastic sleeve, as it had probably come from either the dressmaker or the dry cleaner. And it had snagged on a bush on the Kinnickinnick River, and they picked it up and brought it in, and so we had that on Scrappy one year. And I think it was the same year somebody picked up a sandal that had been found in the water, and we attached the sandal to Scrappy, and then Scrappy was on display at the River Falls Public Library. And lo and behold, a woman and her son came to the library, and the boy said, "That's my sandal." So we were happy to give him back his sandal, but what are the chances of that happening?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of sandals and shoes that end up in the river. I don't know, people out swimming and on the beach, and they get washed away. But there's a lot on the bank.
We often get the question, do we think the problem of littering is getting better or worse? or something. I think although we've had more picker-uppers for the litter growing over the years, it seems like they come in generally with a little less in their bags.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good thing.
Less pollution.
We get far fewer cigarette butts. The character, the nature of what they're bringing in is changing. We get far fewer cigarette butts, and for a few years there we were getting these little sponge balls from, I think, the paint gun deal. We don't see those hardly
anymore.
Ever anymore. But we get a lot of water bottles. The plastic that people are buying, drinking water in bottles and losing or discarding it.
Yeah.
How the stuff gets in the river is always a question, you know. I think a lot of times it's inadvertent. Sometimes it's just plain old negligence and trashing the environment, but
And RiverFest is July 18th through the 22nd, and that timing works really well after Booster Days and after the all the events downtown. Good time to be picking up trash a week.
Right, we
later.
in 2000, when it was just a litter activity and before we made it into RiverFest, we picked it for the next weekend after the 4th of July because being out there, we had observed that there was the most trash after the weekend of the 4th. And then, of course, we observe Hudson Booster Days around the 4th. This year, the parade's on the 2nd. But we found that we were conflicting with a Native American ceremony, a powwow activity. So we moved it 1 week later. So now it's, as you say, the 18th through the 22nd.
Okay, so let's get into some of these activities we're going to get planned. There are some pre-events, so before we start the RiverFest, Tropical Wings currently has a rainforest set up at the Phipps Center for the Arts. So in their atrium gallery, you can come during normal business hours and view that display. I'm trying to think what, Lana Solberg works with the kids from the Willow River Elementary School, I believe, is the school that they're working with, and they create a rainforest theme in there, and it's kind of interesting to see all the things they learn. The kids learn a lot, and they get to be artistic, so it's a fun class.
And they learn that birds that pass through here, you know, spend their winters in Central or even Southern America. Travel long, long distances, and many of them don't have their young here. They go even farther north, you know, for their nesting sites.
Okay. And then we've got the Hudson Library has got a class or a session. It's not really a class called Tailwise, which is Saving the Earth Together, and that's going to be on July 11th. So you can check out the Hudson Public Library website for more information about that. And Willow River State Park has got some kayaking on the July 15th and 16th, so you can sign up for kayaking classes if you want. And I think that one goes down to the falls. So you paddle, I don't know where you start, the boat launch I think, and then you paddle up to the falls. So that'd be a fun one to do. So that's on the Willow River State Parks. The Friends of the Willow and Kinney put on that event. And go to their website and you can find it. More information. And the other event that's going to happen right here at Carpenter Nature Center is the Writing on the Wild Side. So that's the journaling where that Judy set up. So that should be a fun event.
People who want to sign up, if there are any spaces left, they do that through the Carpenter Nature Center.
Yep, you call the Carpenter Nature Center, and there is a fee for that one. Most of the events for RiverFest are free, but there are a few events that have fees associated with it. There's
some materials for the journaling, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Some kind of a book, and maybe on the kind of paper you can write on outside when it's wet.
I think the journal, I think the journaling books is one of the things that they're supplying.
That's the first time.
Yeah, that's the first time we've had that event. That's a new event that we've organized, and it's really nice to be partnering with Carpenter Nature Center in a different way. They've always done the animals for animal ambassadors for us at the luncheon time on Tuesday. But Tuesday's our big day for RiverFest. You want to go over what we start off in the morning? I think is at 10.
Yeah, we start at 10 at the band shell. So folks who aren't already into it and organized for picking up litter can just show up at 10 o'clock. On the website, stcroixriverfest.org, right? On the website are guidelines of what to wear, sturdy shoes, bring gloves, etc. The guidelines are there. We'll have bags. We'll also have some plastic gloves for those who want them. And we'll assign people to join other existing groups to fan out. And so 10 o'clock at the band shell at Lakefront Park in downtown Hudson, rain or shine. Obviously, if it's not comfortable weather, don't feel guilty about staying home. Then that's only for an hour and a half. And then we ask people to bring their trash down to Picnic Point, which is just downstream, I like to say, or south of the boat launch, and turn in the bags there. That other people will sort for the good stuff to put on Scrappy and the stuff that's just going into the trash. And then we'll have the Carpenter Nature Center doing a show, bringing some animals from their collections, some tame wild animals, as it were. They usually bring a snake, and they bring that wonderful wood turtle. And if conditions are right and the stars align properly, they'll bring a raptor. That's always interesting, particularly if there are, let's say, some crows in the nearby trees and the raptor catches sight of them. You sometimes see reactions there that are interesting, and we all learn from that. Their naturalists are really outstanding. This year it's going to be Abby Holden, right? Who's the naturalist who's going to give the talk about the animals and pass them around and that. And then we got food too, don't we, Jackie?
Yep, there's a luncheon for the people that participate in the cleanup. There's a luncheon, and we have a lot of community businesses that are help supporting that. County Market, Quick Trip,
Gerberts and Herberts.
Herberts and Gerberts, and possibly a couple more. So
sometimes Dairy Queen.
It's so refreshing to see that community support, and our local businesses do a lot to help events like RiverFest and other events. So I want to give a big shout out. And while we're talking about that, who's our major sponsor?
Our major sponsor is Norlake. Do I have
no, I don't think you have a Norlake shirt on.
I have the wrong shirt on. The Norlake Refrigeration Factory has been a wonderful sponsor for many years now. They're the principal contributor, to the funds. Most of the money that we need to collect is used to advertise the event, to produce a flyer that shows the activities and the dates and times and locations and all of that. And then we have some fees that we pay.
Programming costs,
rent the park and stuff like that. Yeah, Norlake has been wonderful. And many years they've brought cold root beer on concert night. But we'll get to concert night when we get to Thursday. We're still on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're Tuesday.
It's
Tuesday
just about
evening.
Noon, right?
Yeah,
we covered everything.
We need to get to Tuesday evening.
Then we go to Tuesday evening. Yep, the Tricia and the Toonies is a kind of Punch and Judy style puppet show, right?
Got to be old enough to know who Punch and Judy is.
Oh, darn it. I'm talking to the wrong audience. But it's a framework that someone could stick their head through. And so Pete sticks his head through.
Puppet show.
Yeah, and manipulates puppets and that. And they sing songs. It's very participatory. It's the kind of things, kids stomping around and singing and walking around in a little parade in front of the band shell, in front of this stand-up stage. It would probably embarrass kids if they were older than 7 or 8, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, but for kids from 2
Those
till
little
7,
toddlers.
It's great. And of course, all the parents are beaming away. And then we'll sing the RiverFest song too.
Yes, we have Tricia created a song for us, and the whole puppet show is all environmentally focused, and it's a really good program. It's for adults and children. I mean, it's got a good message, but just getting those kids up there dancing and excited about keeping the environment clean and learning about it, and It's fun.
She teaches
do
them
an
how to
excellent job.
sort some of the recyclables, what goes in what bin and that. That's all wonderful. That one is sponsored by the city of Hudson. The city does that because the city is over 10,000 in population, of course, legally speaking, and that means that it's got to have a program for surface water runoff and surface water pollution. And so they use some of their money to sponsor this educational activity that has to do with the generalized concept of keeping the surface water that flows from the city streets into the river, keeping that as clean as we can so as not to pollute the St. Croix River or the Willow River where some of the sewage or surface water discharges. So the city is a sponsor for the Toonies, and it's a great partnership.
Yep. Yep.
I keep watching my phone and I haven't seen anything about
any news yet.
Yeah, we have a potential for a movie night thing, but it might not come together.
Yeah.
So the thing is, folks, go to the website, StCroixRiverFest.org, and find the latest. There will be other things that shift, but one of the things that might come to pass would be a movie at about dark, at about dusk, after the Toonies performance. And if that comes together, then we'll also have kids' activities, crafts, and entertainment to bridge the time from the end of the Toonies, which starts at 7, ends about 8, until dark, which comes about 9:15, I think, that night.
Yeah, and I believe if we do the movie, the concession stands will be open, or people are welcome to bring picnic, have picnic blanket, but just come for the Toonie show and enjoy the evening. Come for the Toonie show and enjoy the evening either way, but it would be nice if you want to stay up if the movie happens. We really are working hard on that, but it's a lot of organizing to get something like that to actually happen, so we're working on it.
Another new thing.
Another new thing that we'd like to
this year if we can.
Yeah, and this year and future years.
In future, and really it becomes possible because this is a sort of year of transition. We've got the Daybreak Rotary Club wanting to step up and adopt RiverFest as a project of its own, and so Einar Hansen and Brian Elwood are two Daybreak Rotary members who have begun to step into leadership positions so that old duffers like me can back out of it and make way for younger folks.
I'll claim old duffer too.
No, you'll never be. So there's a bit of a transition, but it's as you would hope and as you would predict. New ideas are being suggested, new possibilities are arising, and it's all wonderful.
And it creates a sustainable future, because you and I aren't going to be around forever.
That's right. And that leads us to Wednesday, doesn't it?
Wednesday,
which has another possible new thing.
That's not possible.
In fact,
it's
it's a given. Yeah, we're going to do a river cruise. We've occasionally had on or off river cruises over the years, but we have one now on one of the Afton Cruise Line ships that dock in Hudson. The Afton Cruise Line has put together a special price. You have to register using a promo code.
You got to use our
RiverFest 2023.
Yep.
No spaces in that, and only 2 capital letters, R and F.
Yep.
RiverFest 2023 gets you a $10 discount off the normal price of the dinner cruise, margaritas and fajitas, they call it, right?
Yep.
On one of the Afton Cruise Line ships.
And that one is going to be on Wednesday, July 19th, and it starts at 6:15 is when the boat leaves. You can register or you can come aboard 45 minutes earlier.
Do not be late.
Do not be late. The boat leaves without you. And that's through the St. Croix River Cruise website is where you would register for that. Or there's a flyer that you can and registration information that you can find on the website, StCroixRiverFest.org.
Get to associate with a lot of Rotarians.
Yep, and we've got
Daybreak Rotary
presentations too.
Yep, and tables. And the Chamber of Commerce has sent the information out to all its 800 members or something. And we have invited some notable people. Naturally, the St. Croix River and its national status, you know, as a wild and scenic river designee from 1972 on, is a big deal in both Wisconsin and Minnesota and the nation. This is one of the nation's parks, if you will. And so we have invited Governor Evers of Wisconsin and Governor Walz of Minnesota and the Secretaries of Tourism. This is a big area for tourism, if anybody hasn't noticed.
St. Croix River playing a large part in that.
Of course, of course. And the Secretaries of Natural Resources of both of the states. And then the Park Superintendent of the St. Croix National Scenic Riverway, Craig Hansen, has indicated that he will be there. On board, we decided that there's a lot of interesting information that can be conveyed to the people who are there after they've eaten and drank their margaritas and such while watching the shoreline go by. But we decided the best way to convey that information is not through speeches, but through tables that people can rotate to. And so there's going to be, we know for sure there's going to be a table from the Wild Rivers Conservancy, that's the group that used to be called the St. Croix River Association, and from the Friends of the Willow River and Kinnickinnick State Parks, and from St. Croix County's Parks Department. Ellen Denzer of the St. Croix County Parks Department is going to have a display there about the newest park, which is on the St. Croix River, just north of North Hudson. It's called Eckhart Bluffs County Park. It's under development. You know, not much has been built yet, but they have a plan, and she will have a map and you know, information on that.
Living in North Hudson, that will be a close one for me, so I'm
You'll
looking
likely
forward
be
for
a
that
user.
one.
You and your grandson Miles are likely to be out there, maybe on some of the Fridays.
I showed him how to eat. We were doing the foraging, and I was showing him how to eat dandelions. So, yeah,
There won't be any
started
dandelions in a county park.
No, really. So let's move on to what we're on after the boat cruise. Thursday, the 20th, is another big day for the RiverFest, and that's the annual concert that we do.
Yep, we've invited about 30 nonprofits and so on, like the Golden Rule Committee and the Boy Scouts and the Friends of the State Park and so on, the ones that we've already mentioned, plus a whole lot more, the Tropical Wings, I should say again. And they usually set up in front of the band shell, but along the sidewalk on the outer side, so people can be on the inside to see the concert. And they start that around 6. Yeah, and the concert starts at 7.
The concert starts at 7, and that's the St. Croix Valley Community Band concert, and they're always a great.
They're outstanding.
Yeah, Chris Turnahoy works with to come up with a different selection of music every year. So every concert's different, and I haven't heard what her theme is other than there will be river. There's always the underlying undercurrent.
There you go. Hey, that's a pun.
There's the pun there. There's always the underlying theme of the river and music that would be appropriate for that. And
we'll have the
nature and
RiverFest song again.
Yep, RiverFest
Hopefully the
song.
kids will be able to march around the sidewalk to try to stay in step with the RiverFest song. Chris was missing last year because she was somewhere in Eastern Europe conducting a symphony orchestra over there. I mean, she's a talented.
She's a very talented
She's a
lady.
leader. She's really whiz bang, and the performances are always excellent.
Yeah. So bring your lawn chair, come and enjoy the evening. I think we've got the bubble guy coming, so
we do.
The
yeah,
bubbles
we have
count.
Steve the Bubble
bubbles.
Man. He was immensely popular last year.
Yeah, the kids loved him. And then. So that leaves us to Friday. On Friday, we've got the BioBlitz happening here at the Wisconsin campus of the St. Carpenter Nature Center. And that's
people contact the Carpenter Nature Center for details, but there will be various scientific experts, biologists of different types, to lead people, teach them what they know, what they need to know, and then take them out and look for. If you're with the bird guy, you look for birds. If you're with the flowers lady, you look for those kinds of things. Moss, yeah.
There's a lot of different programs planned. I think they've got about 4 or 5 of them out there now, but there are more to come between now and the July 22nd, 21st is when the first one starts, and on that Friday, and that starts about 3 and it goes into the evening hours at 3 in the afternoon. So
they're going to go really late.
Yeah,
she said, yeah, so they can listen for owls and they can look for the nighttime moths and yeah.
So
it should be fascinating.
If you haven't been out to Carpenter Nature Center, come on out, enjoy the Bio Blitz with citizen science. There's lots happening. Check out the Carpenter Nature Center's website, or we do also have the information on the
on stCroixRiverFest.org.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it wouldn't come to me right there.
And to get to the Carpenter Nature Center's Wisconsin campus, you go past the dog track and keep on going until you see the sign that says Carpenter Nature Center.
You're dating yourself again. that dog track's not been here for a few years.
You go past Phillips Plastics then.
Okay. And then that also on Friday night we have an evening forager walk. So the Hudson Grocery Co-op again is partnering with us, and we'll get Russ Lake out there to help us, and we will be out at the Bluebird Hill Homestead again. So
is pre-registration required?
That one's pre-registered, so you'd have to go to the website and register there. The registration should open shortly. It is limited because it's no speaker. It's just talking, the voice can only carry for about 20 people, so we limit that then for 20 people.
And what is this foraging business?
Foraging?
That's eat your backyard.
Eat your backyard, yep. Finding all the weeds
and native plants, and
a lot of them are edible or used for teas, for medicinal. Like a lot of people use mullein plants for congestions and colds. So there's just tons of information and years of pulling all those weeds like lamb's quarters and purslane out of your garden bed, and they're far more nutritious for you and taste good than the plants you're trying to grow. I need to start growing a weed garden and pulling out the plants. I'd have better luck. I'm not a very good gardener.
I can help you with that. I can give you some starters.
Yep. So foraging walk, and then the Bio Blitz will continue again on Saturday morning, and that starts at very, very, very early, 4:45 a.m. I think that was the early bird watch. Yeah. Yep. So that's a fun event. So that's part of the Bio Blitz. Again, go to the Carpenter Nature Center or RiverFest websites to get more info and details about all the different little programs that are part of the BioFest.
And that all ends about noon on Saturday?
I think she said 11. Yep. Noon, 11. And
then something else happens, but we're back at Lakefront Park, right?
Yep. Yep.
Native American performances. For many years we've had a great partnership with the St. Croix Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Indians, and they've been willing to do family powwow demonstrations and dance along, with the powwow dancers. I think we're still flexible on the time of their performance.
That program, I believe, is 1 to 4, and we're still working on getting another Native American performing group in that afternoon, so that there would be 2 different groups.
Right, we're hoping it'll be the smoke dancers from the Oneida tribe, which are over from the Green Bay area of Wisconsin, where the Oneida Reservation is.
That one's not firm yet, so
we're in the hopes, but we'll have something.
We'll have Native American program.
Of professional caliber Native American dancing, as opposed to family-style powwow.
Yeah. So that will be from 1 to 4 on Saturday. Another event that's on Saturday in the morning is summer scavenger hunt out at Willow River State Park. So that's a great one for kids if you want to go out to the state park in the morning. That's from 10 to noon.
Does that need pre-registration or just show up?
Nope, that one's just show up at the Nature Center.
Okay, so
Oh,
If you don't have a sticker on the car, you
You're
pay
gonna
a
need your
daily
sticker.
admission and go on in and
and they are
drive
asking
to the nature center.
And they are asking a fee for,
For
to cover
materials.
caustic materials for that one, $5 to $10 depending on individual or family.
Ah.
So that's a fun one. And then library throughout the week. The library is going to have, I guess I call it a make and take crafts where you can build water clocks or bird feeders. I'm not sure what a water clock is, but that'll be interesting. Go to the library and find out, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I don't know either.
And then we wrap up RiverFest with the speaking program. We've always had the dancing and singing, and I think it was a few years back when we did the Carlisle School, the boarding
at St.
schools.
Paul's Episcopal Church.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into some of that
We're
serious
going to do it
stuff.
here at the
Yeah.
Carpenter Nature Center this year.
So we'll
right?
have two speakers, or actually I think there's three speakers, but two subjects, and some of it's the Native American boarding schools, kind of a heavy topic. So this is the program's intended for adults, teens that want to learn more, and then the other is the Bad Axe Battle or Massacre.
Yeah.
So kind of some serious programming, but it's time we learn some of those facts, some of that history. And that one is called Indigenous Scars, Wisconsin Massacre and Boarding Schools. So that's here at the Carpenter Nature Center. It starts at 5:30 and probably will run until 8:30. So different people coming in talking on those two subjects. So a little more serious, but I think it's time we move on to some of that stuff. Just like, it's fun to come to RiverFest and enjoy the river, but we also need to be serious about keeping it clean and keeping our environment and our water quality good so that we have the river to enjoy.
Yeah, in the time of Abraham Lincoln, in the course of his lifetime, when he first kind of moved into the public sphere from being a storekeeper, he fought in what they at that time called the Black Hawk War down in southwestern Wisconsin in the general vicinity of Prairie du Chien to La Crosse in that area. The Fox and the Sauk and some of the other Native Americans did not want to be moved across the Mississippi River to the west to lands that were not familiar to them. And so they resisted, and the United States government called out the militia and chased them around, men, women, and children, up and down the coulees, and a great many of them died. There were only a few survivors from that, and these folks from Vernon County will be very knowledgeable about the details and specifics, and will, I'm sure, give a very interesting lecture and answer questions about that episode in our history.
Yep. It should be a little heavy subject, but a very interesting speakers coming in. So that kind of is our last program for RiverFest. I guess we want to invite people to come on out July 18th through the 22nd. There's just all kinds of activities, fun things to do, things to get out and experience the river, learn how to keep it clean and protect it.
Yeah, and keep checking back to stcroixriverfest.org for the exact specifics, and if something has to be canceled on account of rain, that's where the information will be.
Yep.
And that's it. And we don't have the dates for 2024 yet, although
It'd
if we had
probably
a
be
calendar, we could figure it out in a minute.
Subtract a day, unless
Yes.
it's a leap year. It'd probably the 17th through the 21st. I don't know if it's a leap year, whatever. So,
Hopefully it'll continue forward under the management of the Daybreak Rotary.
yeah, that's exciting to get their participation and involvement in the event. And it'll go on and on.
It's been great talking to you, Jackie.
All righty, well, thank you for listening to our Western Wisconsin Journal about St. Croix RiverFest. Thank you, goodbye.